Hello everyone and welcome to the download from 24 IT Services. We're back again for the second show of 2026, so I'm really looking forward to this. And we've got another great guest from across our local business community. And this one, it's very special because we were out at an event for this yesterday, so I'm really looking forward to talking to today's guest. Let me switch over now. Welcome David Bathgate from Military versus Cancer to the download. David, how are you doing?
I'm really good, thank you. Really pleased to be here, AJ. So thanks for inviting us, please, mate.
Good, good. You said that you've been having a busy week. You were out earlier this week?
At a Forces Transition Group meeting in networking meeting in Manchester, meeting Pat Smith, which was a interesting couple of days.
Yeah.
It was really good. Met some good businesses.
Yeah, and you said you got the chance to do something that actually I've never had a chance to do before, which was, what was it?
On Concord.
Concord.
I mean, the whole, it was at Concord Arena in Manchester, and the event was directly underneath the wings of Concord.
Wow.
And then we got to have a tour around Concord itself, which was quite special.
Yeah, definitely. It's something that I've always wanted to be able to see in person, just never had the chance. So, yeah, no, it sounds really, really interesting.
It really was.
Yeah. Let's dive into the start of the show, though. So, anyone who's tuned in before will know that we tried to start off the show with a little bit of tech, AI, and cyber news from over the past week. Of course, we're still starting into the year, so there's some news stories that I'll cover that are more than just the last week, but I still thought they were interesting nonetheless. Starting off this week with a little bit of gaming news, which I know isn't under that tech banner, but it's actually cyber related, believe it or not. Rockstar Games, the developer behind the highly popular Grand Theft Auto series, were targeted by the hacking group known as Shiny Hunters this past week, after the attackers successfully infiltrated Anodot, which is a third-party cost monitoring and business analytics tool that Rockstar use. Rockstar have confirmed the data breach and went on to say that no player information was accessed, and that, in their words, a limited amount of non-material company information, can't get my words out, was accessed, and that there was no major impact to their player base. According to reports, it appears that the hackers were able to target the contracts, financial documents, and marketing plans, as well as other data. Shiny Hunters threatened to release the data on the dark web on April 14th unless their ransom was paid, and they actually ended up doing it a day early because, well, Rockstar just refused to be able to comply. And the attackers then proceeded to release 78.6 million records that they'd been able to access. However, for fans of the Grand Theft Auto franchise, they were left a little bit disappointed when it was found that it was mainly analytics data that was stolen, and this covered things like online services and support tickets, as well as financial data relating to the daily and weekly earnings and player behavior, but didn't include any player information. I suppose as we get into the talking points on this isn't actually the first time that a major business has experienced a data breach in association with a vendor over the past year or more. Only last year, again, Shiny Hunters, the same hacking group, were one of the hacking groups associated with the Salesforce hack, which reportedly saw more than 1 billion records stolen across more than 400 major companies. I suppose, David, do you feel that it's now becoming more important than ever that businesses ensure that they understand the security of the suppliers and vendors that they deal with?
Oh, more important than ever. And we've had quite an experience of it over the past couple of months, really. So it's been quite a learning curve for us. Our trustees, we've had particular meetings regarding this subject with our trustees to make sure that we are fully behind everything that we do.
Yeah, and I suppose it's not just from your own side, of course, just, I suppose, a little bit of behind baseball. We now actually supply your IT and cybersecurity at Military versus Cancer. But I suppose from your side, the people that you're dealing with, your trustees, the vendors that you deal with, I suppose anyone that you deal with on a daily basis with regards to any events that you're doing, you need to be able to understand that their security is also top priority.
Absolutely, not just them. I mean, we've got all them concerns as well, but obviously the beneficiaries that come to us.
Exactly.
A particularly low point in their life, and the last thing they need is anything complications added by incidents such as this.
Yeah, and I suppose that and we'll come to this a little bit more as part of the main topic this week. the type of data that you hold is incredibly important to be able to keep secure.
Absolutely, yeah. It needs to be that. Which I just cannot stress just how secure that data needs to be. Hence, that with you guys in the
Yeah.
first place, but a loss of data of that kind would, like I said, these people are going through the worst part of their life. They
Yeah.
don't need us adding a complication.
No, exactly, exactly. This particular attack, it seems to be what's classed as a zero-day attack, which is it's a type of attack that's targeted an undiscovered vulnerability in a piece of software. I suppose the question now is that should more of these suppliers, especially software providers for CRM tools or any other data analytics tools like the one that was targeted here, do we think that they should now be publishing and shouting about even the regular penetration tests to prove that their software is secure? Because obviously, in this case, it wasn't as secure as the vendor thought it should be. Should these software providers be more active in how they're talking about the security of the software that that these vendors are using?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we all should be talking about it in fairness, because we all learn from, as people don't want to admit that they've made mistakes, but we all learn from people's mistakes.
Exactly.
And we should be learning from these incidents and taking things forward to
Yeah.
make sure they don't happen again.
And that's something that we're really pushing for as a supplier, as a vendor for people for cybersecurity and for IT support. One thing that people will notice very soon when our new website goes live, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, is that we will have sections that talk about as being Cyber Essentials Plus compliant and things like that. So we'll be going through and actually showcasing what this is the certifications that we have to prove that we're doing the right things by our clients. And I think that everyone should be doing a better job with that going forward as well. Moving on to the next news story for this week. So, going back a couple of weeks on this one, actually, Sora 2, which is the video generation service and app from OpenAI, the people behind ChatGPT, recently closed quite suddenly before it even officially launched in the UK. I've actually been using Sora 2 for like the last 6 months or so since it launched. Yes, I know it's not officially available in the UK, but let's just say that I found means to be able to access it and have a bit of a play with it because I don't know, I'm just a fan of tech, so I like to be able to play with these sorts of things. But the past year or more has actually seen a significant rise in the number of different services offering AI video generation, with other people such as Google and Adobe and even other independent ones launching their own services. However, the closure of Sora 2, which was seen as one of the market leaders really, has actually come as a bit of a shock to many, not at least of all Disney specifically, which anyone who knows me knows I'm a huge Disney fan. But they announced this past year a $1 billion investment in the service with the plans to bring its large back catalogue of IP across Disney, Pixar, Lucasfilm, Marvel, and many others to the platform, as well as integrate it into its Disney Plus services as well for user generated content. Apparently, Disney were completely blindsided by the announcement of the closure of the Sora platform with no prior warning. And this is, and again, according to reports that I've found, despite executives being on a meeting with OpenAI less than an hour before the announcement was made public. Disney are now looking to be able to partner with other businesses, potentially people like Google, although there's been no official reports on that, to find ways to responsibly use video generation technology without infringing on intellectual property. I don't know about you, David, but it feels like at the moment, every single time I open social media, I come across some piece of AI generated slop. It just seems to be getting out of control at the moment, whether it's AI generated video or posters. I saw someone post on social media this last week, I think it was over on LinkedIn actually, about uh, summer festival posters that people have been creating, and they'd gathered about 20 different examples, put them all together, and they just all looked the same. And one thing that we pride ourselves on here at 24 IT, we have our own marketing department. There's myself, there's Natalie, and we try to be able to, with every piece of content that we create, represent our brand. Do you feel that people who are using these AI tools to be able to create posters, create videos, and things like that, do you feel that they're taking away almost from the personality and the brand behind their business.
I think you hit the nail on the head, didn't you? You've got to represent your brand, and if you're purely using AI to represent your brand, then that's what's going to come across. It's so obvious when people have used AI, and in some cases, it's really simple. And for a small charity like us, it is fairly essential. But
Yeah,
you've got to put your brand in there. You've got to put your heart in.
exactly.
We put our heart and soul into everything that we do. It
It,
would be a bit of a shocker if we released something that didn't have that in there that people will see about us.
exactly. And don't get me wrong, AI has its place. It's brilliant for research. It's brilliant for being able to create a baseline of something that you want to be able to do. But at the end of the day, not only everything that you write, but everything that you create visually, whether it's, like I say, images, whether it's posters, whether it's videos, it's got to have the personality behind the brand at the end of the day, because otherwise you're just removing all of that people can relate with, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. We're lucky enough that we hold that many events. We've got our own images. We don't need to use AI to create our images. We've got our own images,
Yeah,
such as the rugby event. We've got our own images from previous years. So,
exactly.
we're quite lucky in that respect.
What are your thoughts on AI video generation just in general? Is it something that you've come across much on social media?
On social media, yes, it is, and it is prolific, and
Yeah,
it's. I'm not going to go as far as to say it's disturbing because I can just take it or leave it, and
yeah.
and you instantly know when you're viewing something that's
I just
AI
scroll
generated.
past it nowadays.
Exactly. What baffles me is the thousands of comments underneath of people that saying everyone should ignore this.
Yeah,
Well, actually, you've been baited into replying in the first place, and
exactly.
that's exactly what's
Exactly.
happening.
Exactly.
I can just walk past it easily.
Yeah, it's one of those things at the moment where I feel as if it's being used too much. I think the word
Yeah,
AI generated slop is being used a lot nowadays with these sorts of things that people see every day. Like it honestly makes me not want to in my personal life use social media, because you scroll down a feed and then all of a sudden you just met with this AI generated like
absolutely everywhere.
nonsense
Yeah,
basically.
it is, and it's absolutely everywhere.
Yeah,
And it is, yeah, it probably is quite disturbing that it's so prolific now.
yeah.
There just doesn't seem to be any control over it anymore.
No, and I think I think you've come to the point there, is that I think that platforms, whether it's social media, whether it's websites, whether it's brands in general, I think they need to put more controls in place as to the use of AI, and I think the intellectual property that's being used. And I think that well, the way that Disney going about this is the right way, partnering with a brand who understands their brand, understands what they want to accomplish with
Yeah,
AI,
yeah,
and be able to do so in a responsible way that's controlled, I think is the best way to go about it. I think when people are creating just, I've seen people creating videos of porch pirates, for example, people stealing things off of the porch. And this was something that was made popular by a YouTuber called Mark Rober, who created things like the porch pirate bomb and things like that, where it would like blow up what was it, like paint and stuff into people's
yeah.
faces and make things smell and stuff like that. Like that was made quite popular then, but now people are using AI to be able to create these, and it's just like, okay, I've had enough now.
It is exactly that, and I think we've all had enough of it now as well. Viewing the same subject because they pick a subject such as the Porch Pirates, and they're just constant now, and it's just scrolling past them.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to our next news story of the day. AI company Anthropic, the people behind Claude AI, announced this past week that they are heavily limiting access to its latest model titled Mythos. The block actually comes following internal testing, which discovered that it was highly skilled at finding and exploiting zero-day vulnerabilities in everyday operating systems and software, meaning that if this model was released to the public, it could be used by cyber criminals, and yeah, God knows what they'll be able to do with it. Instead, Anthropic have said that they will limit access to major technology companies whose software is the foundation of many digital services around the world. Um, and the hopes there is that these companies can use this tool to be able to strengthen their systems against cyber criminal activity. Apparently, the new model is so powerful that researchers have said it appeared to be understanding that it was being tested, and even making itself appear to be less capable to look less suspicious. In one of the tests, apparently, again, this is according to multiple reports that I've read, it was told to attempt to escape an air-gapped environment, which would mean that the system that it was on did not have access to the internet. It was told to escape and attempt to contact the researcher with the results of its escape. Not only did it succeed to be able to do so, apparently in this researcher's lunch break, who received a notification on his phone to say that it had escaped, but it then reportedly posted the exploit of its own results on different hard-to-find websites, which is scary in itself. Yesterday, the UK Government AI Security Institute published its own findings following initial evaluation of the model's cyber attack capabilities. And in the test, which requires chaining dozens of different steps together across multiple hosts and network segments, it's designed to simulate a multi-layered corporate network, for example. I'm stumbling over my own words again. This same type of attack would take a human attacker roughly about 20 hours to complete, according to the researchers that were involved. Mythos apparently outshone all previous models tested. It became the first model to solve all of the challenges it faced from start to finish. And whilst it only succeeded in about 3 out of 10 attempts, it was again the only model that has ever succeeded this attempt. Apparently, the average Mythos preview run actually completed 22 of the 32 required infiltration steps for the test, which is significantly higher than the 16 steps actually achieved by the previous model known as Claude 4.6. It still has its limitations, but the AI Security Institute has stated that it's at least capable of autonomously attacking small and weakly defended vulnerable enterprise systems where network access has been gained on those, which this is scary. It's for this model to be in the hands of people that can hopefully create the security against these vulnerabilities is brilliant. But I suppose the obvious question here is how soon until cyber criminals get their hands on similar models? At 24, we operate on a zero trust approach. We monitor for all unusual, suspicious, and malicious activity. But do you think that the majority of businesses that are out there at the moment are prepared for tools such as this to be able to be used against them?
This is this
Kind of
is
worms.
this is an absolute. I mean, this is just fascinating to listen to, fascinating and scary all at the same time.
Yeah.
Because in the hands of good, this is an incredible tool.
Yeah, to be able to protect against things that they may not have even known were there, if you can identify them and protect against them, that's brilliant.
I mean, this is another level of protection needed to
Yeah.
to beat something like this. But again, all I can think about is uses for good for this.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that's just not the way of the world.
No,
Is it?
it's
Not
one of
the way
those things
of
where
the world.
it's only really a matter of time before someone with malicious intent either gets the hand on this model or another model with these same capabilities is created.
It just highlights the fact of all your staff knowing what to look for when things don't look right
Yeah.
anymore, and it's that training that's essential.
Oh, definitely. Training, I think, is one of the most essential things in any business, whether it's phishing messages, whether it's malicious adverts known as malware. We've actually got an article coming soon on malware for people to be able to not malware. Malvertising. Malvertising, which is online adverts which are designed to trick people, much like a phishing attack in an email,
Yeah,
but tricking people into performing malicious acts over the internet, clicking on links, providing data, and things like that. But it's just the latest in the long line of different things that businesses need to be aware of. It's not just anymore that a business can think about, okay, I've got antivirus, so I'm secure. It's not that case anymore. It's having that multi-layered approach and knowing that from every angle you're protected. I suppose the big threat with this is that this type of model, if in the hands of a cyber criminal, could be used to autonomously launch attacks on businesses on a vast scale.
And it's just the sheer quantity
Yeah,
of it could attack thousands of businesses all at the same time and just figure out their weaknesses
potentially
and
all they
and,
need
and
is a
learn.
powerful enough computer. Yeah.
Yeah, and learn from its mistakes when it doesn't succeed. So I mean, that's where does that end?
Yeah, and I suppose the follow-on from this then is if a model such as Mythos is then being tested and it's contacting the researcher as it's been told to, but then going beyond that and publishing its findings on the internet, how far are we now away from a real what's classed as uh, what's the word I'm looking for? There's a particular term I'm looking for anyway, but a real thinking AI that can act on its own. It feels like we seem to be getting closer and closer to that future every single day as these models evolve.
I mean, we see movies about this kind of thing, and all of it, quite old movies at that,
Yeah,
and it's here now. The reality is here, and obviously, I'm ex-military, and I see all kinds of different ways that this could exploit the military spectrum, and that's again, that's really unthinkable.
yeah, definitely, definitely. And we know that at a government level, foreign bodies are using not only tools like this, but they have their own cyber criminal activities going
Yeah.
on and things like that. And yeah, it will be interesting to see how this evolves over the coming months, let's say. But I think if it can be limited to only trusted entities at the moment, people such as your Microsofts and your Google and your cybersecurity tool creators as well, to be able to find ways to implement it for good for businesses and for people around the world. Hopefully, we can get ahead of this now, but how long until the next big revelation finds its own next stage of vulnerabilities, I suppose.
Yeah, and how do you stay ahead of something like
Yeah,
this? I mean, there's so many people working on this. It's just incredible to think that we're here now,
yeah.
and never mind where we're going to be in a year's time or 6 months' time.
And that's something that we as a business have to consider every single day. Like me talking about this on a podcast is one thing, we're raising awareness to the public, but each day the guys out on our support desk or our projects team, they're always looking for this new technology. They're always finding out more about like the latest types of cyber attacks. We have our own cybersecurity team who are every single day looking for like new trends in the market of like how other businesses are being attacked and how can we make sure that we keep people defended from them. So yeah, it will be interesting to be able to see how this kind of like progresses, let's say.
Yeah, and what I really like about you guys is that you actually test my team. You give them questionnaires. They have
Yeah,
to complete tests.
we have to test
But,
our own
but
team as well.
yeah, but you test my team with emails
Yeah,
to find out whether they're looking for something suspicious, and that
exactly.
that keeps me and it keeps my team working and thinking to protect everyone that comes to us.
Yeah, and like I say, that training aspect, we've got to remember that the tools that we provide to businesses every single day, these are designed to be able to keep them protected. And as long as they're configured correctly and that people are aware that they're designed to protect their business, they work fine. But the human element is always going to be the most vulnerable element of any cyber defense strategy. So the more training, the more awareness, sharing stories such as this will hopefully give people that knowledge and experience to be able to keep an eye out for any type of potential attack that comes into their systems.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's essential that we keep on doing that. I love the fact that my staff, myself included, are all doing this training,
Yeah.
and we're all on the lookout for that email now.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, we're in that world where we're going to get them emails.
exactly.
But we know what we're looking for these days, and
Exactly.
whilst all that develops and changes, you guys keep on top of it. So
We do our best.
yeah,
In the final news story for this week, Hasbro, the toy making giant, recently stated that it was hacked, and at the time it thought hackers were still in their systems, and it stated that it could be several weeks to be able to recover from the incident. The attack caused major delays to the company's ordering system and impact parts of its website after they implemented measures to mitigate the extent of the attack, which included taking some of their major systems offline. And there's not been much news since the announcement at the beginning of the month or any indication of which group was responsible for the attack, but they're joining a growing list of major brands like Co-op, like M&S, like Harrods last year, Jaguar Land Rover, who are being targeted by these large cybercriminal groups. I suppose it's not really a talking point on this one, but I kind of wanted to bring it up because with these large attacks taking place, people need to, not only from a business standpoint, but personally as well, keep an eye out for, as we're talking about, suspicious emails coming through. If you receive an email from Hasbro, it might not actually be Hasbro. So do keep an eye out for those signs. Make sure that you're looking at the email address that it comes from, the type of link that's being sent to you, and just be mindful that as more brands like this suffer cyber attacks, that you could be targeted as a result from the data that's been stolen. Now, let's move on to and let's see if we can get through this without stumbling over my words, the 24 Tech Tip topic of the week, which I wanted to bring this one up today because, of course, we're joined by David from Military versus Cancer, and I wanted to talk about the cybersecurity challenges that charities are facing. Charities across the UK are walking a difficult line between limited funding and the need for strong support and cybersecurity protection. As charities continue to rely on more digital systems and the security of the data they hold, they're becoming more exposed to the ever increasing cyber threats that we face every single day, often lacking in the budget or in house expertise to defend themselves. I suppose for charities, one of the biggest challenges that they face is that every single penny counts. Charities such as yourself, David, you're rightly putting as much focus as you can on putting as much money as possible into the cause that you're raising that money for and the people that you're raising that money for. But many charities, unlike yourself, who thankfully have partnered with ourselves, many charities, sometimes that means that they don't have the right IT support. They don't have the right cybersecurity solutions in place. They don't have that staff training or policy development to be able to protect themselves from these growing threats that businesses and charities face every day. They often have outdated systems, gaps in cybersecurity, and therefore they put themselves at risk of falling victim to even the most common threats. I suppose
Absolutely.
we were talking about this briefly earlier. Another major issue that charities face is the data that they hold. I suppose, like for yourself, the data that you hold on people that you support is highly sensitive.
I mean, incredibly. Data security and privacy for any company is massively important, but for a charity such as us that's handling the data from people that are going through the worst time of their life, handling donor data requires a strict adherence to GDPR policies and to avoid breaches. But just nipping back to that Hasbro thing, it's when you're getting emails from, for example, Hasbro, it's just checking that email address, just giving it that
Cursory glance.
Check that sanity check, just to make sure it has come from that location or
Yeah.
where you think. And for that split second, if you've got any doubt whatsoever, it takes 5 minutes to check.
Yeah.
Just take that time to check it.
Or for us, like we say to people all the time, if you feel that something looks suspicious and it has come through to your inbox, send it over to us.
Yeah.
If you're a client of ours, forward it over and just say, I've received this and it looks suspicious. Can you double check it for me? Because all it takes is that extra set of eyes sometimes to be able to look at it and go, yeah, that's not quite right. And like for ourselves, for example, we can then use that to train our models to be able to block those in the future as well. And going on to other things that kind of can be a risk for charities, I suppose, financial data, the money that you're raising, if that's not secured, then that could pose a significant risk to not only the people that you're trying to support, but as the charity in general as well. Like, if you found that health related information was stolen, if you found that money was stolen following an event, for example, like that, it could have significant impacts on the charity as a whole.
I mean, put credibility to one side. First of all, losing the information of the people that trust us most, that would just be heartbreaking, and it'd be devastating for the people concerned as well. Going back to the financial concerns, if we were to lose any money, That's our credibility at stake there.
Yeah.
All these companies put their trust in us. Not just companies, the people that support us. They put their trust in us. They could
It's
give
that
their money to any.
reputation at the end of the
Yeah, of
day. Like
course it is.
if you didn't have the right processes, the right security in place, and money was stolen, data was stolen, at the end of the day, your reputation as a charity is on the line at that point, and the good that you're trying to do for these people could be put at risk going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you've got to try and regain the trust of the companies that want to help financially support you. You've got to gain
Exactly.
the trust of the groups of people that come to you for support. And that's a big uphill task. Never mind all the time involved with trying to sort out the fact that you've been compromised in the first place.
Yeah.
We just haven't got that time. We've only got 4 staff in the first place.
Yeah, this is why it's important that charities such as yourself, and we work with other charities across the local region as well. I've said before, one of our charity partners, Active Fusion, we supply their IT and cybersecurity as well. But it's important that many charities, they don't have the people in the business that understand these things. They don't have that technical expertise to be able to support themselves. And that's why it's important to partner with a provider that understands each individual business, each individual charity, and how they can stay secure and what matters most to them as well, really, at the moment.
Do you know, you've hit the nail on the head there. That you guys understand military versus cancer. You know, the meetings that we had before we signed any contracts was just
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic to go through. You had to understand who we were, who we represented,
Yeah.
and you know what we are in the first place in order to help us. And that help has just been absolutely fantastic.
Exactly. And that's something that we do from day one with everyone. We class that first meeting before people even sign any contracts. We class that as our know your client piece. We work to understand who you are, what you do, how you operate, even like what people within the business do.
Yeah.
And we can make sure that the support and the security is tailored not only to the business, but to the industry that you operate in, like a charity, for example, but also what type of charity work do you do? The type of people that you deal with, for example. Yourself deal with members of the military throughout the UK, and you need to make sure that there is the right security in place for those types of interactions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've mentioned this before about the training that you mandate my staff do, and that I can't express just how important that is.
Yeah,
You know, it's having again been in the military for many years. I've done loads of online courses, but these ones, and they've been important in the past.
yeah,
But I stress the importance of the training that you get my guys doing, and you know, it's not a it is a pass or fail, and it's got to be 100% every single time because you guys want to know that we understand how
exactly,
to protect ourselves.
exactly. And things change so drastically and so quickly at the moment that it's important that that training is delivered regularly.
Yes.
Because keeping up to date, like we could provide a piece of training now that could be outdated in 12 months' time. It could be outdated in 6 months' time. And we need to make sure that we're working with businesses to deliver the training at the time that those changes happen. And that if there is a change in like the latest types of phishing attacks, for example, recently we published a video on what's classed as click fix phishing. That's available now. It's available on YouTube. It's available on all of our social platforms if anyone wants to be able to check it out. But this is kind of like one of those next steps in a traditional phishing attack or malvertising attack. And it's essential that we work with people to help them understand these sorts of things.
Yeah, and that's all members of staff.
Yeah.
Anyone that's dealing with these emails, or that's dealing with the public, or it's dealing with the people that come towards us for help, you've got to understand the implications of getting it wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you do get it wrong, the implications to military versus cancer and the people we support are huge.
Yeah. And I suppose beyond the training as well, there's monitoring and protection tools that we put in place, but also making sure that people are aligned with recognized standards, Cyber Essentials Plus, and in some cases, ISO 27001 as well. can sometimes be necessary. And even having the right cyber insurance requirements in place can be necessary, and making sure that you can prove that you have the tools, the processes, and the training involved to be able to protect your business, protect your charity from these evolving threats. Like I say, we work with charities across the UK, Military versus Cancer, Active Fusion, and many others, to be able to strengthen IT support and cybersecurity, and also in many cases make the most of licensing tools that are available for them. Like, many people don't know that there are things like Canva, for example, has like a charity licensing. Adobe has charity licensing and things like that. And we work with people to try and make the most of those different licensing that's available to them, but also protect them from the evolving threats that they're facing every day.
I'm really pleased you've mentioned that, because and I've said this, oh my goodness, I've lost count of just how many times I have said these following words. We don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And it just takes the experience of someone like yourself to say, well, have you thought of this?
Yeah.
Well, this is available. Adobe, just for example, it's out there, and now we're using Adobe now because of you guys.
Yeah.
But it's not just that; it's quite a lot of other things that you've suggested that we've now implemented and that streamline the way Military versus Cancer does our work and helps people.
Exactly. I mean, one thing that we've heard from charities that we've been dealing with, especially over the last couple of years, and it's becoming more common now, is that they're now being asked to become compliant with industry standards as well, such as Cyber Essentials Plus, to gain different grants and funding. Is that something that you're starting to be able to hear more of now? I suppose it varies per charity, but is that something that you're coming across more now?
Well, really strange that you asked that question right now, because we're an event-based charity, and for the last, we're nearly 4 years old. So for the last 4 years, we've never applied for grants. We've done events, and that's how we've raised our money. And it's only now we're stepping into the last 3 months where we're stepping into applying for grants to help support the people that come towards us and keep us running smoothly. And that's where we're experiencing this right now.
Yeah.
We'd
And that's
never come
part of
across
the
it
reason
before.
you approached us in the first place, to make sure that you had the right tools and security in place to be able to get Cyber Essentials. I suppose it was a little bit of a leading question on my part.
You were definitely the right people at the right time in the right place. Yes.
But no, it's good to be able to hear that people like yourself are putting those necessary processes in place. And I know that James, our business development manager, is actually this past week has been speaking with 2 other local charities as well, based on the work that we've been doing with Antifusion, with yourselves and other charities, to be able to make sure that they're having the right protections in place as well. Because again, they're starting to see requirements for Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus to be able to gain access to these grants as well. So no, it's great to be able to partner with you. And I suppose we're leading into kind of the last segment of this show. I wanted to highlight more about Military versus Cancer and what you do, David. So tell us a little bit more. Tell us about yourself. Tell us about Military versus Cancer and the work that you guys do with serving and veterans of the military throughout the UK.
Yeah, so Military versus Cancer, as many charities unfortunately come about due to personal loss, and that's how this one came about. I've lost 8 members of my family to cancer. Um, none of them were serving in the military, but I was at the time, and so you always turn to the people around you for support, which is what I did, and we turned that into just talking, into turning it into something proactive, which is what Military versus Cancer was. We started out as a fundraiser to start with, to raise money for 2 well-known cancer charities.
Yeah.
And then 4 years ago, 4 years ago, we turned it into an official registered charity to support serving military personnel.
Yeah.
Since inception, we've then developed it to support veterans and then on to immediate family. So whenever anyone in the armed forces community is faced with a cancer diagnosis, we're there to step in.
Yeah.
Step in at any level that they need us to step in. And it really does depend on what they want us to do.
What sort of support have you been able to provide to people over the last few years then, in terms of like, is it to do with making sure that they've got more time to be able to spend with family, or making sure that they can get to the places that they need to get the right treatment, or is it a wide range of different things?
It's all of the above. So many people are on different stages of their cancer journey. Sometimes it's the mental health issues, which I didn't fully understand when I started this up.
Yeah.
which I'm really only getting my head around now. But the mental health issues behind cancer is quite huge.
Oh yeah,
But
definitely.
it's
Not
not
only just for the person who's
exactly what I
going
was
through
just
it, but the
about to say
family
there,
members
Ed.
as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. It's most of the time for the actual service man or woman that's coming towards us. They don't normally concern themselves about themselves. It's the people around them that they're
Exactly.
concerned with. So we'll cover. We'll cover that, but we'll cover the fact that there might be associated costs such as travel,
Yeah.
expenses, just keeping your house warm,
Yeah.
wigs, and we've on 2 occasions we've even paid for 2 families to be married,
Oh wow.
purely because
Yeah.
time was against them.
Yeah.
So we had to step in really, really quickly because that helped them in their journey at that time.
Yeah. It kind of covers that kind of barrier between the mental health, personal health, and what's important to them at that stage in their lives, really, isn't it?
It really is. It really, and it's just being able to listen to them.
Yeah.
And military personnel are not shy. They do like to vocalize exactly what they're going through.
Yeah.
Now, luckily, 34 years in the military, I'm quite hardened to being able to relate to these people.
Yeah.
So I might not have been through the cancer journey personally, but it's rarely what they want to talk about. They want to
Yeah.
talk about their military service
Yeah.
and how everything impacts their day-to-day life now.
Yeah. Exactly.
And it's stuff that I can relate to, or we at Military Versus can
Yeah.
relate to.
And it's cancer is one of those things that, like you say, affects so many people. I mean, I lost my mum to cancer, or coming up to 18 years ago. Bleeding, I feel old now. But like you were saying, it's not always just the person who's facing this disease that needs that support. And like my dad needed support through that time, like me and my sister needed support through that time, and we didn't have anywhere to turn to. So having for military personnel, veterans who are facing this disease, to have yourselves to turn to have that support there, whether it's just someone to talk to, whether it's like you say, being able to arrange transport, because there's specialist centres up and down the UK for different cancer types.
Yeah.
Being able to turn to yourselves for that support is incredibly important.
It really is, yeah, and it's a difficult journey. I mean, a cancer journey for anyone is impossibly difficult.
Yeah.
But we specialise with the military, and that's what we focus on as much as anything because it's people in the military. They don't want to ask for help. They really do not want to
No.
ask for help. And of course, they're navigating a system that's alien to them.
Yeah.
They're now, they're going through a cancer journey that it's not the military that's doing that. It's the civilian side of the NHS side, and they're not used to
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
And of course, they're probably away from home. They're away from their family. There's so many things that go against them with this, and we've seen so many times a reluctance at ignoring the symptoms
Yeah.
because of the impact it will affect their next assignment. It will affect their promotion. And it's all these things that we need to just talk about
Yeah.
because it could be absolutely nothing, but don't ignore the symptoms.
Exactly. Exactly. What would you say are some of the big challenges as a charity that you're facing at the moment, especially as a relatively new charity as well, in trying to make sure that you're doing as much as you can for people to get the support that they need?
Getting our name out there is the biggest part. We've got such fantastic support from the people that financially support us.
Yeah.
But it's getting our name out there to all three services.
Yeah.
Now, we don't play very well with each other on a regular basis between the RAF, the Army,
Yeah.
and the Navy. But on stuff like this, we do really well. So when last year we organised a military event, of which 24 IT was part of, where we
Yeah.
pulled a 1.5 ton bow wall field gun from John de Groats down to Land's End.
Yeah.
Now, it wasn't just a fact of pulling 1.5 tons of steel across the roads. It was, we're kind of symbolising the fact that it's a similar journey to a cancer diagnosis of,
Yeah.
you've got this weight and you can't put it down and you've got to move it from place to place.
Yeah.
And you've just got to get your head
This
around what you're
journey that
dealing with.
people are facing
It wasn't
every
just
day.
that. It was the fact that we travelled from north to south, entire length of the country, just to raise awareness of who
Yeah.
military versus
And
cancer
getting
is.
people involved along the way as well from every aspect of the military. I know that, like you say, 24 IT were involved in that, and there were other people that we spoke with from throughout the local region who wanted to be involved in it as well.
Yeah.
But I suppose that's just one of the different events that you do. I know that there was a charity walk last year that Tony did his foot in on.
We'll have to say what day he did that.
Let's just say that he made it up in the end. He ended up doing walks around the lake to be able to make up for the miles that he missed.
Did he ever?
Yeah, you do lots of different events throughout the UK. We headed down to Twickenham last year, where you were there to be able to support the Armed Forces Day there. But
Yeah.
and this year, and this is kind of one of the things that I kind of wanted to come on to because we were over at the media event for it yesterday. You're doing the Armed Forces Day rugby event at Castle Park, the home of Doncaster Knights, this year on July 4th, I believe.
We are indeed, yeah. So historically, we've held this event in Newcastle. So for 3 years prior, we've held it up in Newcastle. But this is where military versus cancer is based now, at home in Doncaster. So bringing it down here seemed the absolutely right thing to do.
And we've got the grounds for it.
Definitely got the grounds for it, yeah. And it's right on the doorstep.
Yeah,
it's absolutely perfect for us. The planning that's gone into this now is quite huge.
Yeah.
Having UK Armed Forces playing for us, the men's seniors, the women's seniors, and their under 20s is quite incredible. And that's all coming to Doncaster on the 4th of July.
Yeah. I suppose what can people expect from that event? Because it's not just the men's game either, is it?
No. Like I say, the men's, the women's, and the under 20s, a triple header.
Yeah.
And
it'll be a fun day.
It will be. It will be a very fun day. You'll see the military at their best. You'll see the veterans at their best, and it brings what I hope the whole of South Yorkshire together.
Yeah.
And under one umbrella to celebrate the military and raise awareness of what military versus cancer can do as well. But if the military versus cancer part of it aside, if it brings everyone together to celebrate rugby, sport, the military itself, what a better time to do it than Armed Forces Day during them celebrations on the 4th of July.
Yeah. So for people who are interested in heading along to this event, how can they find out more and how can they be involved?
Just get in touch with us at Military versus Cancer. So if you went on to www.militaryversuscancer.com and look at our events, the rugby event is there amongst many others that we've got going on. But the tickets are there, there's sponsorship available. It's free to serving personnel, it's free to veterans and their families. And it's just a low cost for everyone else that wants to be there and celebrate with us and enjoy a fantastic day of rugby.
And it's a great chance, like you say, for businesses to get involved to be able to sponsor this. 24 IT, we're sponsoring the men's senior game.
You are indeed.
So really looking forward to that. We got a sneak peek of the kit yesterday, so we're looking forward to getting out and seeing the team wearing that on the day. But like you say, there's still sponsorship available for the day for people to be able to get involved in. So anyone who's interested in that, highly recommend reaching out to David and the team if you want to be able to sponsor, or if you just want to be able to get your business involved in some way, shape or form. And like I say, head over to the website, check it out, and hopefully we can see more people out there at Castle Park on July 4th.
Perfect.
All right.
Yeah, ideal.
Is there anything else that you want to be able to share? This is your time, David. Is there anything else that you think that people need to be aware of? Any other events that you've got coming up?
Do you know what? We're a Doncaster-based charity, and we would love to, if rugby isn't for you, but you're still in Doncaster, you're in the South Yorkshire, just talk to us. If there's something you want to do that you think we could help each other with, it's not, we're never going to be that charity. So this weekend we're at RAF Cranwell saying thank you to our sponsors. 24 IT are going to be there. It's our way of giving back to tell the story of how your sponsorship has helped, and to put you into a military location and show you where we've come from, and what our family is, kind of thing. And just to say thank you. But events wise, we've got we're at Celtic Manor for a military heroes golf event where we'll have Brian Wood, who was awarded the Military Cross for bravery. We've got Billy Billingham there. We've got our summer ball in Lincoln with Richard Jones, the military magician. We've got so many events. We've got 40 events going on this year.
Yeah.
That's some of the big ones. But you as a company, you as an individual might think, well, I can actually do something with this.
Exactly.
My company can help out with this, and it don't have to be financial. It could be another way.
Yeah.
But talk to us. If something comes of it, great. If we just make friends, then absolutely fine.
And sometimes those relationships with people are just as important, aren't they? So
it is. There's so many companies that I will get in touch with. They say, well, I can't help, but I know a company that can.
yeah,
And that's how connections are made. I haven't got their network, but if they're willing to just spend 2 minutes just to get to know us a little bit better, and talk to us about, we're not all take. And I know that's how charities come across sometimes, but it's not intended that way.
yeah,
And it's not all take. We do give something back, but sometimes we just need to talk about how we can give back because we want to.
exactly. Well, thank you very much, David, for coming on to the show today and talking a little bit about tech, AI, and cybersecurity, but also telling us more about military versus cancer as well, and especially, like I say, the Armed Forces Day on July 4th. So, really looking forward to that. Thank you very much for joining me today. And reminder for everyone else who's tuning in, whether it's live or whether it's to the show after the fact, if you want to be a guest on the podcast, happy to be able to speak with people. We've got guests lined up now for the next few weeks, but we'll be doing this all the way through to hopefully October sort of time. So anyone who wants to be a guest on the podcast, more than welcome to be able to have you on. Thank you, David, for joining us today. And for everyone else, hope you have a fantastic day.
Thank you.